So after 14 games, I led 8-6. The last 2 games had been quiet draws, which is what I needed to get closer to the magic 12.5 points. But it wasn't comfortable. And Alekhine once said that true masters can draw at will, and I was beginning to understand what he meant. Quiet play may look safe, but it drains your energy and sets the stage for future crisis. Tall thinks, in game 15, we return to 1. E4, ready to test Botvinnik Caro-Kann once more. There was no flashy knight sacrifice this time. My trainer Koblents had vetoed that. But instead, a rare line that still promised tension. To my surprise, this was one of the very few games where white actually gained an advantage against Botvinnik's trusty Caro-Kann. The stage was set for a subtle but important fight. Quiet on the surface, but filled with strategic meaning.
A standard opening move that grabs the center and challenges the d5 and f5 squares. Fundamental and not too flashy, the Caro-Kann defense is a fundamental opening. Grabbing the center is a great way to respond to the Caro-Kann. Black builds a fundamental Caro-Kann defense. Knight c3 protects the e4 pawn and attacks the d5 pawn. D takes e4 opens up the center and plans to meet knight takes e4 with either bishop f5 or knight f6, challenging the knight. Knight takes e4 recaptures with the knight in the center of the board, where it controls many important squares. Bishop f5 develops the bishop and attacks the knight on e4. Black can play e7, e6 next, without trapping the light-squared bishop on c8. Knight g3 attacks the bishop on f5 and controls the e4 square. Bishop g6 retreats the attacked bishop, but keeps it on the active diagonal where it controls both the e4 and d3 squares. Bishop c4 develops the bishop to an active diagonal, where it attacks f7 and controls d5. e6 controls the d5 and f5 squares and allows the dark-squared bishop to develop. Knight 1 e2 develops the knight toward the center and protects the d4 pawn, developing the bishop and increasing influence in the center. This threatens to kick a bishop. This prevents the opponent from being able to kick a bishop. This mobilizes the knight, allowing it to control more of the board. This is an equal trade. A straightforward recapture. Black develops the knight and attacks the center. There were worse moves, but also something much better. This is not the right idea. The best option was to kick a bishop. Very precise. That's an unfortunate error. There were worse moves, but also something much better. This avoids clear danger. After all captures, this is an equal trade. This threatens to tactically win a pawn. This allows the knight to control more squares. This avoids clear danger. This defends a pawn that was under attack and had no defenders. This mobilizes the knight, allowing it to control more of the board. This offers to exchange pieces of equal value. This threatens to kick a bishop. This threatens to capture a knight and win material after the follow-up trades. The clearly correct move for a threatened knight. This offers an equal trade of pieces. This is an equal trade. This threatens to tactically win a pawn. This stops the opponent from being able to tactically win a pawn. This stops the opponent from being able to force doubling of castle pawns. This threatens to tactically win a pawn. This prevents the opponent from being able to tactically win a pawn. This creates a pawn chain, linked pawns. This is an equal trade. A clear recapture. That's not a mistake, but it's not the best move either. This permits the opponent to move a bishop to a more active position. This is a fair move. This allows the opponent to move a bishop to a more active position. The better move was to move a bishop to a more active position. This permits the opponent to move a bishop to a more active position. The best option was to move a bishop to a more active position. This is the strongest option. That's fine. The best option was to create a pawn chain. This permits the opponent to kick a rook. This permits the opponent to eventually win a pawn. A very strong play. That's not a mistake, but it's not the best move either. This is a fair move. The best option was to kick a rook. This allows the opponent to move a bishop to a more active position. This creates a pawn chain, linked pawns that form a strong structure. This doubles the rooks on a file, which allows them to team up to create threats. The game is still close to equal, but white lost their advantage. The game was close to equal, but now white has the advantage. Applying pressure to black's pawn chain. Right on target. The correct move to safety. This is not the right idea. There was only one good move there. Very precise. A straightforward recapture. A solid choice. This forces the opponent to get an isolated pawn on a semi-open file. A clear recapture. One of the best moves. This takes an open file, a common method for activating a rook. That was a free pawn. This is the strongest option. This is the only move that works. This steps away from the checking rook. This is the only move that works. This steps away from the checking rook.